Just one day after a shocking poll out of Iowa shifted the narrative, new surveys have dropped another bombshell, revealing a decisive lead for one candidate in multiple battleground states. With the stakes higher than ever and Election Day just hours away, this last-minute data has completely upended expectations, sending one campaign in a frenzy. Record-breaking turnout only intensifies the suspense, with these late shifts making this presidential race one for the history books. Be sure to watch this video all the way through, as the map will look totally different from anything that I've shown before. Now let's break down the polls and examine how this development might shape the final outcome. I'll start right away with one of the shocking polls, this one out of North Carolina. The state has emerged as one of the most closely watched battlegrounds in this election. The New York Times Sacher Siena poll shows Harris holding a 2-point edge, creating a surprising change to tilt blue just a day from the election. This is a state Trump won by 4% in 2016 and by 1% in 2020. Early voting numbers further highlight the race's uniqueness. Nearly 4.5 million ballots have already been cast, with Republicans at 33%, Democrats right behind at 32%, and 35% falling into the other category. High turnout among core Democratic groups hints at a rare opportunity for Harris to turn North Carolina blue for the first time in 16 years, a shift that would deal a huge blow to Trump's electoral map. Before we continue, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to stay up to date on everything related to the 2024 election. We'll be posting a new video every day until Election Day, and be sure to drop a comment with the state you are from and which candidate has your vote. Can't wait to see where everyone stands. Going to the West Coast in Washington, Harris holds a substantial 19-point advantage, firmly positioning the state as solid blue. Washington's deep-rooted Democratic leanings and history of support keep it securely in Harris's column. Further down in Oregon, Harris sustains a strong double-digit lead, placing it confidently in the likely blue category. This stable margin reinforces Harris's foothold on the West Coast, contributing to a consistent Democratic alignment throughout the region. In California, where Harris has long-standing political ties, she commands a 24-point lead, underscoring the state's solid blue status. California's steadfast support strengthens Harris's dominance along the coast, securing the West as a key Democratic bloc in this election. In Nevada, it continues to be a very contested battleground this cycle. This New York Times poll shows Harris ahead by a 3-point margin, creating a new dynamic in this traditionally competitive state. Clark County, Nevada's largest and a crucial Democratic base, will be key to Harris's path to victory. Although Republicans have made gains recently, Harris's campaign is banking on high turnout in Democratic areas to hold Nevada in her column. With Election Day tomorrow, the state remains on a knife's edge, with both campaigns making an all-out effort in these critical final hours. Arizona has been another intense battleground, with the new poll placing Trump ahead of Harris by a notable 4-point margin. This unexpected lead shifts Arizona further into the lean red category. Maricopa County, which accounts for approximately 60% of Arizona's total votes, remains a crucial area to watch, as any swing here could reshape the state's outcome. Harris's campaign has intensified its focus in Maricopa, recognizing that closing the gap in this key county is essential for flipping Arizona. In New Mexico, Harris maintains a steady 6.5-point lead, securing its position as lean blue. Despite some GOP efforts to gain ground, the state's solid Democratic base has bolstered Harris's campaign, which is now looking to widen her lead even further in this historically blue territory and ensure they keep it in future elections. Over in Colorado, Harris's 11-point lead highlights the state's continued shift leftward. Colorado's rapid urban growth, particularly in Denver and Boulder, has helped reinforce the state's likely blue classification, strengthening Harris's foothold on the Western map. In the central U.S., Trump commands significant leads in Wyoming, Utah, and Idaho, where his previous winning margins have reached between 20 and 40 points. Montana also remains solidly Republican, with Trump currently holding an 18-point advantage, keeping it firmly in the solid red category. Nebraska's 2nd congressional district is a notable outlier in a largely red state, with Harris leading by double digits, placing it in the likely blue category. The remaining parts of Nebraska, along with North and South Dakota, Kansas, and Oklahoma, remain safely in the Republican column. In Texas, Trump's 7.8-point lead reflects a slight improvement from his 2020 performance, placing the state comfortably in the lean red column. Harris's team is monitoring demographic shifts here, recognizing Texas's long-term potential. Adding further energy is a closely watched Senate race where Democrat Colin Allred is mounting a strong challenge, adding further complexity to this traditionally conservative state. In Alaska, Trump holds a comfortable 8-point lead, making it a likely win for him. Meanwhile, Harris is well positioned in Hawaii, where the state's strong Democratic alignment keeps it firmly in the solid blue category. In the Midwest, a region both campaigns are intensely focused on, Harris is aiming to secure Minnesota, along with the pivotal blue wall states of Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. These states are essential to her path, especially considering Trump's notable 2016 victories there. Polls across the Midwest reveal neck-and-neck races, making this area a potential election decider. I've been highlighting this path for Harris for some time, as Trump's best move would be flipping just one of these states. But with this new polling data, the strategy might be shifting. Keep watching to see how today's map could change everything. In Minnesota, Harris holds a 5.7% lead, positioning the state as lean blue. While this margin has seen a slight dip, Minnesota's decades-long Democratic trend since 1972 and its robust base of Democratic voters suggest it will remain in Harris's favor. Over in Iowa, Trump has been favored to win the state throughout most of this cycle, continuing the pattern from the last two elections when he took the state by 9 and 8 points, respectively. However, with limited polling data between Harris and Trump, Iowa is placed in the tilt red category for now. I'll discuss the Selzer poll later on. In Illinois, Harris is up by 17 points, securing the state as a solid blue stronghold. Indiana, however, is expected to fall comfortably to Trump, who holds a strong double-digit lead, making it a likely win in alignment with past election results. Ohio shows an 8-point lead for Trump, though the margin has tightened compared to previous years. Ohio, once reliably Democratic, has shifted to the GOP, with 2022 seeing Republican governors win by substantial margins. Given this trend, Ohio is marked as likely red on the electoral map. Keep an eye on this state as the most recent poll has Trump ahead by only 3%. In Wisconsin, Harris has a 2-point advantage in this poll, a crucial lead in this notoriously competitive state. With high voter turnout expected in Milwaukee County, Wisconsin is currently leaning tilt blue, though both campaigns are fiercely targeting it as a critical battleground. In Michigan, Siena polls show a deadlock at 47% each, underscoring the state's role as a true toss-up. With the UAW strike emphasizing the importance of working-class voters, labor support could be decisive. As both campaigns focus intensely on Michigan's 15 electoral votes, the state remains a top priority. In the Northeast, Harris holds steady with several states firmly in her favor. Vermont, Connecticut, Delaware, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. remain solidly Democratic. Even New Jersey appears secure for Harris, despite recent challenges faced by Democrats in the state. In New York, Harris has a comfortable lead of 14 points, marking it as a solid blue state for the Democrats. New Hampshire is in the lean blue category for Harris, with polls indicating a lead of 6.6%. Maine, however, offers a more nuanced outlook. Harris leads statewide by 17 points. Although Maine's electoral history has been less predictable, Clinton's margin in 2016 was just 3%, with Biden's less than 10%. Harris appears secure in Maine's first district, but the second district leans red, reflecting Trump's past success there. In the Southeast, Trump's support holds strong across several states. Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama remain solidly in his column, with Trump enjoying a 23-point lead in Tennessee and comfortable margins in Kentucky and West Virginia. South Carolina, too, is classified as likely red, underscoring the GOP's strong presence in the region. Florida has increasingly leaned toward the GOP, as evidenced by Trump's 3-point victory in 2020 and Ron DeSantis' significant 20-point win in the 2022 gubernatorial race. With Trump currently leading by 7 points, Florida remains in the lean red category, although Harris's stronger performance relative to Biden's in recent polls suggests the race could tighten as Election Day draws near. Now we have the final three states, and all three are extremely important. In Virginia, a state with a long-standing Democratic tilt, Kamala Harris seems well positioned for a comfortable win, holding a 6.2% lead over Trump, with some recent polls even showing a double-digit advantage. Virginia remains securely in the lean blue category. Given the state's consistent support for Democrats, it's unlikely to shift toward battleground status this cycle. While Republicans may have looked to gain ground, the numbers indicate that Harris is solidifying Virginia's position as a Democratic stronghold in 2024. Georgia, with its pivotal 16 electoral votes, stands as one of the most critical battlegrounds this election. Recent polls show Harris ahead by a slim 1%, turning up the stakes for both campaigns. If Harris can secure Georgia and maintain her lead in other key states like Arizona and Pennsylvania, her path to victory strengthens considerably. At present, Georgia is classified as tilt blue. Pennsylvania, with its crucial 19 electoral votes, stands as one of the most decisive battlegrounds this election cycle, with the power to shape the final outcome. Currently, Harris and Trump are locked in a tight race, tied at 48% in the New York Times poll cycle, with the power to shape the final outcome. Currently, Harris and Trump are locked in a tight race, tied at 48% in the New York Times poll, underscoring the high stakes in this must-win state. Early voting trends lean toward the Democrats, with close to 1.8 million ballots cast so far, 57% from Democrats and 33% from Republicans, suggesting strong early enthusiasm on her side. For now, Pennsylvania remains a toss-up, and a victory here could be pivotal in defining Harris's path to the presidency as the campaign enters its final stretch. With the electoral map now complete, these final New York Times Siena poll numbers reveal a map that I've honestly never seen before. Harris holds leads of 49-46 in Nevada, 48-46 in North Carolina, 49-47 in Wisconsin, and 48-47 in Georgia, which would give her the win and put her in the White House. Meanwhile, Pennsylvania and Michigan are locked in a tie, yet with the previous leads, Harris still wins without needing either of these states. Trump maintains a 49-46 edge in Arizona, making it one of his strongest footholds in these last moments. It's all very interesting because this doesn't include the surprising Iowa poll that has Harris ahead by 3. With Election Day tomorrow, the stage is set for a high-stakes showdown. These margins show Harris with a clear edge as we enter the final stretch, and if all of these recent surveys from highly rated pollsters turn out to be correct, it could be a landslide victory for Harris. Keep in mind, this is just a projection based on recent polling data and trends, and things can shift quickly. Make sure to stay informed, check multiple sources, and follow updates from trusted sources as Election Day approaches. Please share this video to remind others not to let up. Every single vote counts. No matter what you hear, showing up at the polls is essential. Even if your state feels solidly in one direction, your vote is key in local races that can make an enormous difference in your community. Make your voice count and be part of the process.